Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Have to forgive the bit of congestion here, but, well, it goes with the territory. Fall weather means a bit of extra fun for me. So, figured I'd, good evening, everyone. Go into a little bit of forgive the bit of congestion election. And everybody's gonna get a bug on for their favorite candidate and things like that. Well, that's not what I'm here to do. Strangely enough, and my politics have always been pretty open, not denying that, but I'm more interested in just going through all of the U.S. Senate candidates. And since there are 35 elections instead of the normal 34, I figured we'll break that into a three-part series. So, we will be starting out with Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Arizona, California, Colorado, Georgia, Florida, Connecticut, Idaho, Illinois, and Indiana. So without a whole lot of to-do, I will start getting into it. Yeah, I know, AP. It's like everybody's streaming, and I figure there's this is more of a good archive wait and see kind of episode for most people. But I figured I'd get into it since it's relative. There's been some new polling coming out, which nothing really terribly exciting, but we'll possibly get into some of that. So, I guess the big thing with this is, I'll tell you what this is not. This is not endorsing candidates. This is not really going through and dissecting each individual candidate's positions. This is just going to be going through naming all of the major politicians that are running. I'm not covering write-ins for the most part. I think there might be one or two that pop up in here. But if you want to do write-ins, that's on you. So. Oh, thanks, AP. You go where the views are most needed for your entertainment. That's my official policy. So we will get right into it. Of course, my map obsessed self has to go in and do all that. There is to answer your question, AP, why there are 35 rather than the standard 34. One of the senators in Oklahoma is giving up his seat, so there's technically a special election for that position. I will cover that in more depth on that particular part of the series. But yeah. Like I said, we're just going to kind of go through, look at some of the campaign websites, see if there's some actual cringe-worthiness and entertainment in there. And, let's get on with it. So, right now, this is just kind of, the Cook Political Report showing kind of where they think things are leaning. Most of the Democrat seats, they're claiming to be fairly locked in. And we'll see about that. So there's 14 Democrat seats up, 21 Republican seats, and of those, we're only going into 13 tonight. So, yay for not wasting everybody's time too much. So, again, the good old map, and this just shows you where things are currently leaning. The darker blue obviously are locks for, like, say, California, Colorado, the sucker state. So, yeah. But first stop on our little adventure tonight, Alabama. Of course, reminiscent of the old St. Andrew's Cross, just in Alabama covers. It's been a long day. So, we have Democrat William Boyd for Senate. He is not originally from the state, if memory serves. And we'll see what what's I believe. Yes. He believes in Alabama. AP, if I recall correctly, Colorado got busted sending tens of thousands of registration cards to non-citizens recently. I believe you are correct. I'd need to see some of the charges, if any, are being brought. But yeah, I'm trying to stay as apolitical as possible on this. Hopefully draw in some more viewers down the road. So, and before we get too far into this, you have to be a U.S. citizen and at the age or over the age of 35 to hold the position of Senate. So, yeah. Oh, no, AP, you run your mouth all you want. I'm just not going to say, this candidate over here sucks or that one's better. I'm trying to avoid that for once. So, real quick, I will say the believe in Bama, believe in Boyd thing. It's like, well, a nice bit of consonants. I'm not a fan of shortening state names for weird reasons. Just my personal preference. So economic development. He wants to do a lot of organized labor. That's worth noting. Talks about educational, wants to get people in the community involved. Fair enough. Kind of standard Democrat boilerplate. Oh, exceptional healthcare. This is where it's going to be. Yeah. Get into your probably more socialized medicine. Ending voter suppression. That could be a spicy meatball. Employee representation. Again, going back to the unionization. And again, remember, this is Alabama. And environmental protectionism. Will Boyd believes we must protect the earth, environment, and by reversing climate change. Interesting. That's special. I'm definitely having to bite my tongue here. So he's been endorsed by Alabama New South Alliance, Democrat Conference, District 20 mine workers. So he's playing to his base. County Millennials, Barber County Democrats. Oof. I mean, you're not wrong, AP. You're not wrong. So he is. Oh, this is. So Dr. Will Boyd, Reverend, Bishop of Zion Ministries, St. Mark's Baptist Church. So at least we know that he has some grounding in kind of like, oh, okay, he's accountable to somebody in his world. So that's good. Born in Florence, South Carolina. Some excellent barbecue is to be found in Florence. So maybe he's eaten some good barbecue through the years. Don't know. So that's Will Boyd. And so this is his end voter suppression. And so, interesting. So he's talking about, the voting rights and unequal pay and really what I'm hearing is vote early, vote often is probably what he's pushing. So yeah, he's definitely he's wanting to sell books. Take that for what you will. So this is the Republican candidate, Katie Britt. And let's see. Let's see if she talks about. So you can tell right away I would much prefer her winning because of the shotgun there. So let's see. She is a. Let's see. Look at judges. That's good. President, CEO of Alabama's Business Council, so she's minded towards making actual things work. Yes, AP, you are absolutely correct. Conservative women are more attractive than liberal women, at least in the public sphere. There's always exceptions, but it definitely makes you scratch your head. So, yep, political science at the University of Alabama. So she is she is native to the state, and that's always something I personally find very important with any candidate. It's like, do they mostly live where they're running, or are they just kind of carpetbagging? And if you don't know what carpetbagging is, since we've got an international audience, picking up, using your newfound status to go in and just take over. I also find it interesting, contribute with crypto. So, that's good and admirable. So, yep, she's focusing on Alabama. Clearly not going for endorsing unions. So, talks about sanctity of life, vets, education, national debt crisis, and that's good. Talks about jobs, keep 9. I'm assuming keep that to 9 justices rather than wild expansion and packing the court. Immigration, mental health, agriculture, Second Amendment, foreign affairs, Israel, healthcare. So, the way I'm reading her is she's kind of the typical, state, typical state party kind of player, that sort of thing. So, endorsed by Home Builders Association of Alabama, Associated Builders and Contractors. So there's the big payoff right there. Is she's got a lot of these workers work industries that are behind her because they don't want the unions coming in and fucking it all up. That's that part I'll get political on. So, yeah. It's quite a lot of endorsements by comparison to her opposition there. And then we have a libertarian candidate. So, John Sophocles. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name. And let's see. He's been on the news. He wants to. So it looks like kind of average libertarian, probably more of a Mises Caucus guy, but don't know. At least not yet. And let's see. Well, his main points are decentralization of power, tackling inflation, Second Amendment. Sophocles? Yeah. You're guess is as good as mine. It's very amusingly Greek sounding. Uh, Talks about budget, decriminalization, so kind of a standard boilerplate. Let's see. Where is... So, he went to Clemson and then Auburn. So, yeah. All his little publications. So, I have a feeling, because libertarians don't do a lot of work outside of basically being placeholders, sadly. He's looking to just kind of cash in on this. And let's see. Oh. So he's endorsed by the Libertarian Party of Alabama. Well, that's good because he's running for them. Alabama Cannabis Coalition, and Let Bama Vote. So, there we go. So those are the 3 candidates for the Alabama Senate seat. Now, Alaska is interesting because it's first past the post voting. So this could get things drawn out a hair. And they actually have a lot of candidates, but again, I'm just focusing on ballot candidates rather than write-in candidates. So, yes, showing us that she's a proud and independent woman. So, here is Chesborough. Yeah, there's... So, she's all about reproductive health, abortion, sustainable economic development, green jobs, curbing gun violence, supporting and harnessing renewable energy. Back to the... Yep. So back to all that fun stuff, and equal rights for all. Well, that doesn't really tell us much. So, let's see. She's from New York. At least that's where she was educated. Bachelor at Syracuse, Masters of Science and at SUNY. Let's see. President of Education Association, so very much school union type. Superintendent of Schools at Matsu. I'm guessing that's a district or town. And 9.3 million in development, so that's nice. Let's see. Daughter of a mother who was widowed with 3 kids. That's admirable. So, not really a whole lot of good issues there. So, create jobs, child support. Okay, yeah. Alaskans rely on our rich environment for mining, drilling, tourism, yada, yada, yada. She supports policies that promote these ideas, but they have to be sustainable. So, the way I'm reading that is she's going to take it as far as she can without completely destroying everything. Ooh, share the wealth. Again, trying to stay out of being too political. She wants to eliminate the disparity of economic opportunity. She supports the PRO Act, with valuing working families. So, very much in the pushing for unionization, which I have one of several projects that are coming together that, strangely enough, all involve unions. Wanting to respect the rights of all Americans. So, wants to do racial-based discrimination. Yeah. Narrowing the wealth gap. Equitable education. That's always an interesting thing when any politician starts talking about that. It's like, what do they really mean? They talk about how education's great, but how do you make it fair? Is it you change it based on the system or the people that you've got around? AP, well, unionization can be, but unfortunately, when you get when you start getting down that closed shop route, that's terrible. And the way the unions have always operated in the U.S. specifically, I'm not a fan for multiple reasons. And in large part, I would say because they just don't take into account, shall we say, the flexibility that's needed for a lot of people to get away from the crushing might of the union. Let's see. Protect BIPOC and other alphabet civil rights. Again, I've always thought that, salutations, Earl. Welcome to the rundown of all the Senate candidates in the United States. Well, 13 today, and then the rest are coming. So, wow, goes into basically green jobs, all this kind of stuff. Chesborough is definitely hiring some good people. And AP, unions could work better without a minimum wage law. Yes, and I think minimum wage has just exploded into things that aren't really necessary. Yeah. So, okay. Nothing else really exciting with Chesborough. So, now we come to the incumbent, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. AP, green everywhere. It's rampant Canadianization, I tell it. Yeah. Well, I mean, then, eh? And Earl, don't know a lot about unions these days. I'll be listening and yeah. Oh, I'm already into the senators. I'm just going through state by state and trying to touch on each one a little bit, and rather than getting too political, just trying to give a nice overview for anybody that's listening in future. So, green equals Canadianization. Time for syrup to be dumped in the sea. Yeah, or go up there and fell some trees. Or I won't. I'll save that. So Murkowski's been in office for quite a while. Basically, she's been there for as long as I can remember. Issues and priorities: Alaska Natives, rural Alaska, Alaska's fisheries, Alaska-specific roadless rule. That's interesting. the verge of much-needed improvements to the 2001 Roadless Area Conservation Rule. Let's see, talking about the Arctic. And these are probably topics that are very unique to Alaska so far. Budget spending and national debt. Murkowski has earned a reputation of tough fiscal conservative who will always fight. I was going to say fight the Alaska taxpayer rather than fight for, but COVID-19 resource page. Their campaign will closely monitor, control the outbreak of the novel, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Defense. Talking about supporting military families, education. So, a lot of boilerplate. She's been around long enough where I don't think anybody's going to be shocked by anything new with her. So, this is Kelly Tshibaka. I've never heard her name pronounced correctly ever. Everybody's kind of meandering around. So she's from Wasilla. Father was a Vietnam vet. So she's Alaska Native. So she knows all the good kind of weather that they get. And she's a hockey player. Well, I mean, if I were going through and endorsing people, that would just that would get my endorsement for the hockey alone. Let's see. Family's everything. 5 wonderful children. Work hard to instill the Alaska's values. Special place. Yada, yada, yada. So let's get to the about. So, yeah. So, yep, she grew up in Alaska. Her parents were homeless for a while. Fought their way in working class. Had a union electrician as a father. And they were apparently working up in the oil fields. Went to law school. So, yeah, so she's definitely a hard scrabble lady from the sounds of it. See, I'm running for the U.S. Senate because it was people of Alaska who stood up for me and gave me opportunities in life. Now she wants to stand and do that for the people of Alaska. Yeah, too long we've had a senator who cares more about being popular with Washington, D.C. insiders than she does about us. She doesn't feel it when she votes against Alaska's best interests and owes everything she has to her father, who appointed her to a vacant seat when she was elected governor. Yeah, that. And AP, yes, hockey, the closest thing to historical MMA before Europeans. Yeah. Yep, and clearly she's got your vote, AP. Yep, she's standing on holding insiders accountable, cutting spending, government for the people, care for the community. And let's see what her plan is. So, revive the economy. So, yep. Reclaiming our rights. So, talking about paternal bill of rights. So she's kind of along the lines, it sounds like, of DeSantis in that regard. Also, yeah, she's a staunch supporter of the Second Amendment. That's good. Require equal, legal, and safe immigration. Legal immigration costs Alaska over $100 million per year. So there you go. And AP, if Alaska wasn't so far away and so cold, you might jump the border there. Well, I mean, nobody'd really notice too much of a difference. And she's talking about, let's see, reform healthcare. Talking about Murkowski being the deciding vote for Obamacare. Broken promises in the system that doesn't work. Yeah. And she's endorsing free, fair, secure elections, basic building blocks of our republic. I like the fact that she's referring to it as a republic, not our democracy. It's a big distinction. Without property, ensuing the integrity of our elections, continue to yada, yada, yada. Common sense integrity measures such as voter ID and signature matching, among others. So, that was Kelly Tshibaka. And now we've got one of the few write-in candidates I decided to include. Shoshana Gergenstein, or Steen. And she is, let's see, she has a bachelor's from University of Utah, went to Loma Linda University for graduate school and Whittier Law School. She's a professional consultant. And that's about it. And you can see in the general election, there's a lot of write-in candidates. Hence me not going into each and every one. Now, this guy is also Sid Hill, another write-in candidate. Again, this is just very limited to who I'm showing for write-ins, but yeah, so you've got, kind of the local guy running for Senate candidate. And remember, this is a first past the post, so whoever gets the most votes overall out of a field of, at least 5. And currently, Tshibaka is got the most votes by 8 points, according to the aggregate at Real Clear Politics. And this is as of September 11th, so this is the most current poll. Yeah, AP, I've got to agree. First past the post is rife with trouble. I'm not a fan of that or a lot of the other voting systems that are out there. Are rife with abilities to go in and say, if we can just squeeze things a little bit more here or there. Just, yeah, not a good system. But you can see she has 46 votes compared to Murkowski, the incumbent, with 38, and Chesborough with 19. So, I would say this is looking good for her as well as early September, but we shall see. Because, again, this is the most recent poll that I could find. And now we're moving on to Arizona. So we have the incumbent astronaut Mark Kelly. I'm willing to bet he's going to beat that into everybody's brain. That and his His wife is Gabby Giffords. Yeah, I have to say some of these early flags are pretty nice. Yeah, Earl. I mean, it is a little bit shining path, but then you had John McCain there, so he was a bit of a radical. So yeah, he's talking about being a combat pilot, astronaut, and current senator. I find incumbents kind of boring to talk about. Ah, yes. Senator Kelly's embarked on his next mission, serving as U.S. Senator for Arizona in a seat once held by John McCain. Well, hot diggity damn. Helped pass the American Rescue Plan, which put shots in arms and the direct relief in pockets of Arizonans. So, yes, you can see why I'm struggling very, very hard to stay nonpartisan here. So he serves on... Well, actually, there's another better thing about that. Yep, so there he is with Gabby Giffords. Biting my tongue. So he serves currently on Committee for Armed Services, Committee on Energy and Natural Resources. I mean, Earl, I'm not going to say you're wrong. Not at all. Committee on Environment and Public Works, Special Committee on Aging, Joint Economic Committee. So this guy is very much wrapped up in the apparatus of the Senate. Is anybody really shocked? Probably not. Oh, look, he's doing a spaced out walk. He's talking about lowering costs for Arizona families, building a 21st century economy. Starts with upgrading Arizona's infrastructure, expanding jobs, training, including those who won't get a 4-year degree. That's an odd way of phrasing it. Won't get a 4-year degree. That's like they're resisting paying all sorts of money to go to college. Yep. Bipartisan infrastructure law. Again, just very much a party player. That's what people want. That's what people will vote for. First ever drought restrictions on the Colorado River. Senator Kelly chaired Senate hearing on bringing attention to Western drought conditions, part of the bipartisan infrastructure law. Okay, so there you go. There's a little cleaning up Washington. It says every politician ever introduced Banned Corporate PACs Act. Reduce corporate influence in Washington, D.C. by prohibiting for-profit corporations from influencing campaigns in federal elections. Why is it that Arizona senators have this fetish for going through and messing around with the campaign finance system? McCain did it. Kelly's trying to do it. Must be something in the drought water. And securing Arizona's borders and fixing our broken immigration system. Let's see. Senator Kelly's seen these challenges firsthand with numerous visits to the Arizona-Mexico border and in meetings with Border Patrol mayors, local law enforcement, yada, yada, yada. He's introduced bipartisan legislation to require federal government to develop a coordinated response that ensures safe, orderly, and humane process at the border. Let's see. We also need to provide a earned pathway to citizenship that would require individuals to pay a fee, so in it for the money, pass a background check, sure, whatever, and those who've lived in our communities for years. So there you go. That's Mark Kelly for Senate. So then we have Blake Masters, who is Trump endorsed. This is some sort of weird, as seen on TV style logo in my brain. Family man and visionary leader. So he's a Arizona native growing up in Tucson. Been married for 10 years. Went to Stanford and Stanford Law School. Co-founded a software company called Judicata. I know, AP. It's like I just kind of like what some like I wanted an orange though. Yeah, orange man endorsed. And he's a writer. I mean, AP, I would genuinely suggest you put it in instead of Trump endorsed, just put Orange Man endorsed, and I think you could get away with it. So so this is the guy who is connected to the Thiel Foundation, nonprofit that promotes science and innovation. Let's see. Fellowship program, paid 225 young people to drop out of college so they could create new companies. Thiel Fellows together now worth more than $45 billion. From 2018 to 2022, COO at Thiel Capital Investments. So at least he knows how to do finance well. AP endorsed by the Cheeto in chief. You need to make that happen. You really do. Let's see. Brings a wealth of experience to the table how to defeat not just the progressive Democrats, but also the weak and compromised rhinos. So he knows who his base is. Abroad, we see the menace of authoritarian countries like China. Blake has an unrivaled understanding of how China uses technology not only to control and terrorize its own citizens, but also to steal our intellectual property and wage a digital war against the United States. So, good on you, AP. I can't wait to see this endorsement sticker. Speaking of, I gotta say, the holding up like a 1980s looking Walkman seems a little odd. Yeah. So, showing him as a family man and man of the people. Oh, and not afraid to go to the gun range, unlike Mark Kelly's been anti-gun after his wife got shot by the crazy man who went after her. So, lots of pictures. Okay. Holy crap, that's a lot of pictures. Yeah, we don't need to go through all that. Endorsements. Obviously, Trump endorsed him. Trump, Josh Hawley of Missouri, Rand Paul of Kentucky. Yes, AP. He was, and I believe still currently is, married to Gabby Giffords. And he was seen as apolitical at the time, and now not so much. So, let's see. He was also in. So, Masters was also endorsed by Doug Ducey, governor of Arizona. Jan Brewer, former governor. Fife Symington, former governor. Debbie Lesko in the House. Andy Biggs. Schweikert, National Border Patrol Council. See, they buried the lead. This is much more important than these other members of the House. Mark Lamb, County Sheriff. Tucker Carlson, supposedly. Jim Banks. Madison Cawthorn. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Robert O'Brien. Peter Thiel. Club for Growth. Grinnell and Kash Patel. And then you can get in touch and do all that sort of fun stuff. But I think that's going to wrap up. Oh yeah, you can go to the merch store. So then we also have the Libertarian candidate. And yeah, I'm AP. Yeah, preferred to be endorsed by Rand Paul rather than Trump. Yeah, it does open up some interesting possibilities when you think about it. So, Mark J. Victor, Libertarian candidate for the Arizona Senate. So. I'm glad to see the endorsement sticker is moving ahead. Well, Earl, rather endorsed by DeSantis. I'd be okay with either of those three if I was running for Senate. Just because it shows you're at least got the bona fides enough to be out there and you're not just floundering around like I am speaking right now. So let's see. He's talking about regards of abortion and consent. That could be something worth delving into at a later date on a different podcast. Live and let live due to increasing technology. Yada. I don't know anything about the live and let live movement. I know it's based off of the do no harm for the libertarians, but yeah, or is it? Oh, yeah, non-aggression principle. Okay, yeah. So that's nice, but let's see. Let's look at his... Okay, so he's a lawyer in the board at Arizona and Hawaii. Has his own law firm. So, sounds like, kind of your typical libertarian so far. And let's see. So what are the issues that are near and dear to his heart? Personal opinions, factual disputes, groups and governments, unknown future, gambling, prostitution, alphabet, drugs, euthanasia, freedom of speech, racism, religious freedom, weapons and firearms. I'm curious. Just I'll check out one or two. I don't think any of us have the patience to go through all of this for this nature of podcast. If you want to understand more about was it Mark J. Victor, I would suggest looking him up because he has a very extensive website. So, we've got some more polling, which was last updated October 4th. And it has Kelly with roughly a 3 to 4.5 point lead with a margin of error around, we'll call it 4%. So that's just right within the margin of error. I don't know if I'd make a whole lot about this one way or the other. Yeah, I know they're talking where it's a projected hold for Kelly, but I've also seen it sometimes listed as a toss-up. So I'll put it this way. I'm not going to make any predictions because I could be massively wrong, and while it'd be entertaining, we'll cover that probably on election night when we get there. So Arkansas, or Arkansas, if I really, really want to annoy my friends there. Let's see. Earl, do no harm, but do no harm, but do no harm. That I like that. So Arkansas, wow. We are grinding through the alphabet today, let me tell you. So we have Natalie James for Senate, and can I just say this? I don't care who this is. I know she's a Democrat, but when you have your main, like, here's our candidate, and it's just her hands. This just looks really bad. Really bad. Whoever designed her website should be ashamed. Cause, she's not a bad looking lady. But it's like, why have it pop up where you see her hands? It's like she's been sabotaged by her own people. Oh, gosh. So, Natalie James, a lifelong Arkansan, raised by a hard-working teacher and insurance broker / preacher. Okay, learned early the importance of being a participant, not a bystander in her community. Yeah, I have a feeling, she's on the larger side, so it's like, okay. I get she's showing off the blue, but I mean, holy hell, this is bad look. So, yeah, they really need to work on their website. This is like Instagram level bad. So, talks about our parents a little bit. Let's see. Formative years in Little Rock Public Schools, University of Arkansas. Saw discussion. So she's very much an educate-focused woman with the ACLU shirt on there. So, Earl, I have to agree with the hands across Arkansas. Let's see, does realtor work. Then she got appointed to City of Little Rock Land Bank Commission. Its mission mandate to find owners for blighted properties. I mean, okay. She became the president of the Little Rock branch of the NAACP and was on the Political Action Committee. She repeatedly defended attacks on women's health care, voting rights, alphabet Arkansasans. That's a mouthful. Small business owners, criminal justice reform. Champion for criminal justice reform. Sorry. As a champion for criminal justice reform, she led unsuccessful efforts during Arkansas's 93rd General Assembly to hold law enforcement accountable to end qualified immunity in wake of, some not terrible ideas. Not great ideas, but during the social unrest in summer 2020, she took an active role in bridging the gap of communication between communities of color. Local police department, and elected officials. Well, yeah, she was NAACP. She's got to play interference there. And then back with the hand photo. Sheesh. Yeah, AP, that's how you get a knock on the door in the middle of the night. Just saying. So her big issues are healthcare, the climate, agriculture, public infrastructure, the cat mewling in the background, jobs and economy, criminal justice, and education. Well, she's really on this criminal justice reform, so let's take a quick dive here. Let's see. Natalie believes we must fund our law enforcement agencies responsibly. She hears cries of communities to rebuild relationships with local law enforcement agencies and communities, which is why she supports legislation to end qualified immunity and hold law enforcement officers accountable. She shares the view that we must make intentional investments, in agencies that provide training and additional resources to officers to establish community trust. Fund police departments responsibly so accountability is there. And qualified immunity for re-entry citizens. I guess that's those who've served their time. Reduce senseless gun violence. That's random. Support measures to put an end to mass incarceration. Again, depending on... Let's see. That's where she hones her skills. Skills that make her a nightmare for people like us, Earl says. But I mean, holy shit! I really want to just email them and say, fix your damn website. And I can't vote for the woman clearly, but it's like your website's just not. It's not a good professional look. So. We have John Boozman. It might be Bozeman, but I'm calling him Boozman for my own shits and giggles. So, let's see. What is his highlights? Veterans Affairs, National Security, Jobs. Yeah, okay. Got offices. I believe he's incumbent, if I remember correctly. Yes, the old Zoidberg phrase. Yeah, your website is bad and you should feel bad. So, Boozman is Arkansas's senior U.S. Senator and Dean of the state's congressional delegation. Fifth generation Arkansan. Raised in Fort Smith, North Side, yada, yada, yada. Graduated Southern College of Optometry in 1977. Co-founding a private business. So, oh, wow. Do we want a high-resolution image of Senator Boozman? I think not. So, he is on these following committees. Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition, Forestry. Senate on Committee of Appropriations. It's probably one of the more important ones. Environment, Public Works. Veterans Affairs. Commission Security, Cooperation in Europe. The Helsinki Commission. So, ooh. That's a little bit much. Let's see if we can do something quick on the voting record here. So this is just for 2021. Cloture. Nomination confirmation of Rahm Emanuel as Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to Japan. Confirmed. District Judge. Cloture. Another judge. Judge. A lot of judge votes. Okay. It's not a whole lot. Yep. Not really a campaign site so much as it's Boozman on the cruisin'. But we have an independent who is not a write-in, Stuart Sherrill, with no actual website, and he's an attorney, but that's all we know. And again, I find it kind of interesting. He's actually on the ballot. So that's kind of cool. And then we have the libertarian Cates. Let's see, what's it? Like John Cates or something like that. Kenneth Cates, sorry. Kenneth Cates, Libertarian Party. So there we go. So let's get to know old Kenneth here a little bit. Again, much better website. It's almost as if he wants people to know what he looks like. Let's see. Grew up in a small rural town in Arkansas. Then hunting, fishing, yada, yada, yada. Let's see. He's got religion. There are times when we didn't have electricity, running water, and phone. Despite of that, I fought to better myself. As a teenager, I planned on becoming a firefighter. After 9/11, decided to do his duty and entered the Marine Corps. After the Marines, went on to do the fighter paramedic thing, critical care. So, yeah, this is definitely a guy of character, especially being a Marine. So, and then he was a Republican his whole adult life. Platform. Then his stance changed, and talking about 2020, 2021, and there you go. So his key issues: national debt, health care, COVID-19, presidential election, January 6th, military and intelligence, border issues, and criminal justice reform. He does his own little newsletter thing about those. I would suggest you go and take a look if you are in Arkansas. I was going to make an Arkansan joke, but yeah. Let's see. Yep. All right. So that moves us on to California. The old California goes the union joke can be thrown in there. I was thinking about getting a very meme-worthy, more of an NCR type thing, but you know what? Trying to be good here. Try not to go too far. I mean, yes, AP. I mean, the fire's naturally occurring there. All right, we have incumbent Alex Padilla. Wanting you to suck up to him and whatnot. Proud son of immigrants from Mexico, Alex Padilla believes in giving everyone a fair shot at the American dream. A progressive problem solver, Alex has dedicated his career to finding solutions. Yeah, I am not downloading the official portrait, that's for damn sure. Lifelong Californian in the San Fernando Valley. Parents were immigrants. Fell in love, got green cards, so they did it legally. Little former education, yada, yada, yada. Went to public schools. All right. After graduating MIT, Alex returned and was eager to begin his career. However, with the tide of anti-immigrant sentiment in California, at the time, Alex drew Alex towards politics. Had to take a stand against the cynical rhetoric demonizing people like his parents, friends, and neighbors. I don't think he understands the issue. Alex joined protests against California's 187, which sought to deny public benefits to immigrants. And, worked for Senator Di-Fi at one point. That's Dianne Feinstein. Was elected at 26. He was elected to Los Angeles City Council. And so then he, in 2006, California State Senate. 2014, Secretary of State. And then he was appointed in 2021 to the U.S. Senate to fill a vacancy created by the election of Kamala Harris. So he's kind of following the Obama path in some ways. And cat, stop. So, yeah, I'm kind of bemused by the fact that he was not elected. He was appointed to the Senate. Granted, that's the way it used to be, but... well. So, let's see. He's on the Judiciary Committee, Subcommittee on Immigration, Citizenship, and Border Safety, Committee of the Budget, Committee of Environment and Public Works, Homeland Security and Government Affairs, and Rules and Administration. Now, I don't know if anybody else has picked this up, but there are a lot of senators in this round that have so one of the that have a place on the Environment Committee. It's interesting. So his key issues are voting rights, environment, education, immigration, veterans and military families, housing, economic opportunity, healthcare, and foreign policy. Oh, cool. I will take a look at that sticker shortly. So Republican Mark Muser. Wow. $7.19 for regular in California. Supply chain. Let's see. So, native Californian. Talks about his picking cherries when he was a kid. Yippee-i-o-ki-yay. Let's see. So he represented a client in Gilstrap versus United Airlines. Disabled American United failed to apply federal law. How it handled travel. Okay. More lawyer stuff. Outdoors, scuba diving, yada, yada, yada. Not a whole lot of good, interesting stuff. Then he's got what's called the People's Plan. And this is, I don't know. AP. I mean, it might be cheap for California, but the rest of the United States, that's a roughly $3 more per gallon. So Mark's plan is prioritizing your pocketbook, educating our children, overhauling infrastructure, protecting communities, limiting government overreach, ensuring supply chains, and sustaining resources. And if you really want to get into it, I recommend you go to Mark Muser and his website. And those are the only two candidates for California. No libertarians dare venture in. Which is sadly amusing. But yes, we have the official endorsed by the Cheeto in Chief sticker. No, Elder was running for governor for the recall. And, national average is 392.3. I mean, AP, I would like to see the, yes, Larry Elder representing the evil that he does so well. All right, on to Colorado. So this is Michael Bennett. And this website's kind of a mess. I mean, it's nice to see the running water and all that, but it's like I'm here for a Senate candidate, not some bullshit in the background. Yeah, so he's represented Colorado in the Senate since 2009, so very long-term incumbent, widely recognized as pragmatic and independent thinker. Yes, Earl, I have to agree. The C is for cookie. He's driven, so Bennett is driven by a deep-seated obligation to create more opportunities for the next generation. Taking on Washington dysfunction and working with Republicans and Democrats, yada, yada, yada. And, of course, what's the official bio and all that. So he's done the Inflation Reduction Act, Chips and Science Act, Amash National Historic Site. Let's see, Amache, a Japanese incarceration facility in Granada, California, now part of the national park. Yeah. He's got a family that he likes. Cool. At least he's not a weirdo in that regard. In the Senate, he's on the Finance Committee, Intelligence Committee, Agriculture, good Lord. Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry. And then he caucuses with, who the hell cares? It's a caucus. It's free association. It's not a Senate committee position. And let's see. He prioritizes climate, clean energy, conservation, democracy. Like many Americans, Michael believes that our democracy is at risk and that Washington's dysfunction bears much of the blame. I was going to say blames much of the bears, but we're not talking about Chicago yet. Economy and jobs, education, fiscal responsibility, healthcare, immigration. He knows our immigration system is broken and hobbles our economy, reduces global competitiveness, keeps millions hardworking families in the shadows, yada, yada, yada. Justice and equality, national security and foreign policy, rural communities, and veterans. Fair enough. And then we've got Joe O'Day, which I don't know why. Why is he saying meet his wife? It's like, that's nice, but we're not voting for Mrs. Senator, are we? So, O'Day is a CEO of a Colorado construction company. Adopted at birth and raised by a Denver police officer and loving mother. Became a union carpenter. Studied construction. Dropped out went to Colorado State University. Dropped out. Ran his own construction company. Construction company, billions, large scale. Yeah, it's 300 employees. Cool. Top issues. Defending working Americans. Reducing debt. Strong and secure America. Reckless decisions from left-wing politicians are making the world a more dangerous place. What happened in Afghanistan is an outrage and foreign policy blunder of epic proportions. It's only two major issues being listed. Alright, so priority 1, reduce spending to reduce inflation. Reduce energy inflation, yada, yada, yada. Putin. I think that could have all been put on one page, but that's just me. Let's see. He's been endorsed by Hank Brown, Mayor Kaufman, and State Senator Ray Scott, as well as the Denver Police Association, the Gazette, Energy Strong, Durango Herald. That's actually a really cool little town. Associated General Contractors of America, Colorado State Shooting Association, Fort Morgan Times, the Tea Party Express. Wow, I didn't know they were still around. Let's see. Former senator, former governor, former senator, former Secretary of State Wayne Williams, former congressman Scott McInnes, some cabinet officials, who cares, state legislatures. Let's see. Conservative activists and leaders. Michael Field, John Caldara, Laura Carno. Radio host Hugh Hewitt, Mandy McConnell, Ross Kaminsky, Stephen Tubbs. So he's got a lot of people saying that he doesn't suck as bad as the other guy. That's what I'm taking away from it. Let's see. So we have Frank Atwood of the Approval Voting Party Convention, March. And the Approval Voting Party candidate for president. Never heard of the Approval Voting Party, but Frank Atwood has their endorsement. Congratulations, I guess. And let's see. We have TJ Cole, also in Colorado. Advocate of bipartisan politics, active in his community. Oh, that's good. Launched his Colorado State Senate change, how things were done, yada, yada, yada. Let's look at issues. Innovative government, the environment, public health, information technology, building a stronger America, education, humanities, and arts. And let's see who he's been endorsed by. Coming soon. TJ Cole is a true leader. Example endorsement. I will give him credit for trying his hardest. And I'm sorry, he was not I think he was just running independently, Mr. TJ Cole there. Because we have, let's see, Brian Potter, Libertarian candidate. He's on Twitter and Gab if you're so interested. Outspoken champion against oppression and government overreach. AP, maybe I should contact TJ Cole's campaign as the Ambassador Emeritus for Newfoundland. Offer him my endorsement for a charitable donation. I think you just have to make sure that he puts on the endorsed by the Cheeto in Chief sticker on his website, and that would be endorsement enough, I'd think. So, let's see. So Brian Potter is believing that no public money should be spent for abortion procedures, pills, or embryonic stem cell research. So he also believes that life begins at a conception. Wants to make sure adoption is a viable solution, which I have to endorse. in the war in Ukraine. Freedom from federal mandates and emergency powers. All Americans must have freedom of movement and the person under the Privileges and Immunities Clause of the Constitution. If you disagree, please consider moving to Canada. All leaders violate this freedom or have violated this freedom in name of an emergency should be prosecuted and held accountable. Inflation, election integrity, and gun rights. Second Amendment. Let's see. When the Second Amendment was proposed, our founding fathers owned cannons. Americans have rights, not permissions. The right to own weapons of war shall not be infringed. It's an act of war to disarm any American. Red flag laws, background checks, magazine limits, and assault rifle bans infringe on the Second Amendment. So that's his stand. And he's claiming with his internal polling to have 5.2% of the vote. Economic immunity for Newfoundland, I see. Yes. That's the APC. Speaking of silly campaigners, do you guys have absolutely humorous candidates like Rhino Party and the Cheese Party down here? We do, but it's typically more presidential elections. So, yeah, I gotta say this guy's pretty interesting. Let's see. He's been endorsed by Tom Tancredo, former congressman. I remember Tancredo. He was an interesting guy. I think he ran for president once upon a time. Now, I actually remember backing the guy, but I think it was like 2000. Oh gosh, I think it was maybe 2000. Was it 8? Might have been 2008. That was an interesting guy. Let's see, Walter E. Block, Ph.D., scholar endowed chair for professional economics at Loyola University in New Orleans. No, not Tancredo. Although, wouldn't a tan Cheeto just be one without the cheese dust on it? And Brian Potter was also endorsed by Ron Hanks, leading representative on election integrity. So there you go. So according to the latest Real Clear Politics average, Bennett is hanging around 7.7% advantage. O'Day being the next closest, and then you have Brian Potter as a distant third, but still 5%, and then you've got 4.7% undecided. That's pretty good. So, and now we move on to Connecticut. Yep, I knew this one was going to be a bit of a slog getting through all this, but I didn't realize there were going to be so many extra candidates. Which it's kind of good to actually get into some of these smaller candidates. To be honest, I don't think many people really cover them outside of existing, vacuum. So you've got Senator Dick Blumenthal, incumbent. So Blumenthal was he's a second-term senator. A father who fled Nazi Germany at age 18 and a mother who left Nebraska's farmland to become a social worker. AP, yeah, he looks like Aaron Eckert. Yeah, I mean, kinda, yeah. Let's see. Blumenthal went to Harvard College and Yale Law School, editor-in-chief of the Yale Law Journal, and was assistant to Daniel Patrick Moynihan, assistant to the President of the United States. He was in the Marine Corps Reserves. And let's see. U.S. Senator Abraham Ribicoff, staff administrative assistant, then chief of staff. So, yeah, he's been bumming around in politics for quite a while. In profile, yeah, I'd definitely say in profile, Blumenthal looks a lot like Eckert. Let's see. Pushed for GM to fix its car's fatal defects. Keep dangerous nicotine products out of the hands of children. So, standard boilerplate. Let's see what committees he's on. Judiciary Committee. Committee of Science, Commerce, Science, and Transportation. Armed Services Committee. Veterans Affairs. Committee on Aging. Sorry. Like I said, long day. And he's shaking hands with all... Oh, there's a Ukraine caucus in the Senate. Yeah. Caucuses mean jack squat to me. His main issues are civil rights, consumer protection, economic opportunity, education, energy and the environment, gender equality and reproductive rights. Well, we know what that means. Gun violence prevention, healthcare, immigration, infrastructure, privacy, cybersecurity, national defense, and foreign policy, as well as veterans affairs. Let's see. Victims of State-Sponsored Terrorism Act. So, that's a deep dive. If we were doing deep dives, fine, but not really of interest for this. More cloture votes. I do think it is kind of nice that they go through and list every little vote they took. That's good if you're doing deep dives into your candidates. So, his opposition, Leora LeVay. It's time to retire Dick Blumenthal is her catchphrase. Leora is running to take the fight to Blumenthal because we have to have automatic everything. Let's see. Yep. Oh, this is interesting. LeVay has lived the American dream. She came to this country as a child escaping Castro's communist regime in Cuba. She knows firsthand what it means when communism conquers your country. Leora is pro-life. Exceptions of rape, incest, life of the mother. She believes miracle of life. Signed the Big Family Pledge, solidifying her belief in the beginning of life at conception. She has 3 sons. Yeah. No, AP. It's Leora, not... I've ruined my own joke. Yeah. I know where you were going. Leora, not Leona. There we go. Let's see. Unbreakable alliance between U.S. and Israel. Committed to leading the fight for freedom in this country because she knows what happens when you lose it. She was nominated by Donald Trump to serve as ambassador to Chile. Let's see. Leora was the right messenger with the right message. She's a Jewish Hispanic woman who will say in plain language and no uncertain terms that what is happening on our southern border is an invasion. Leora believes that closing U.S. borders is paramount in the pursuit of safety and security for this country. The U.S. border security is under constant threat. Leora will always defend parental rights and freedom of choice for wearing masks and vaccinations, cemented her belief that parents knows best for her child, not the government. At this time, parental rights are under attack from the radical left. Leora will be a clear and relentless fighter for the voice of parents. She also firmly believes in the right to bear arms. Every American has the right to protect their family, themselves, and their property. Wow. I was not expecting this from Connecticut. She was born in Havana, Cuba, escaped communist revolution in 1960. And so, yeah. Went to Brown University. One of the handful of women at the position of the time of being a trader at Fibro Solomon. Don't know what that is. Let's see. She and her husband have lived in Greenwich for 34 years. Well, cool. Let's get to the issues for this Leora. Although I think we got all of those. Votar Republicano. So she's doing the multilingual stuff. So let's see who she's been endorsed by. She's Trump endorsed, Rick Grinnell, Linda McMahon, Tom Cotton, Portman, Tom Tillis, Senator Blackburn, Kathy McMorris Rogers. I have no idea who that is, but apparently it's somebody I should. Let's see, Congressman Turner, Congressman Reschkenthal, and Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar of Florida. Republican Jewish Coalition, Freedom Works, View PAC, Pro-Life, Susan B. Anthony Foundation, I guess. Restore Liberty organization. I don't know if that's a foundation or what, but Republican National Hispanic Assembly, Connecticut Republican Assembly, and former president of CTRAM, Kate Prokop, and Connecticut Order of Fraternal Order of Police. So she's got quite a few endorsements. Yes, indeed. She was endorsed by the Cheeto in Chief. You might want to send her that sticker too. All right. Well, let's see what Florida man is doing. So, Val Demings. So she's currently a U.S. representative for 10th District. And let's see, she's on the Senate. Let's see. Val Demings represents Florida's 10th congressional district. Lifelong public servant, broke numerous glass ceilings, don't care. What's she done important? Let's see. Jacksonville, Florida, with her older siblings. Her parents, Eloise, a maid, and James, a janitor, instilled their children deep respect for hard work and decency. Cool. Became the first in her family to graduate college. Cool. Where'd she go? Bachelor's in Science and Criminology, Florida State University. Went on to receive Master's in Public Administration. So, as a social worker working to protect foster children, fair enough. Moved to Orlando, joined the police force. Had a reputation of a smart, tenacious, no-nonsense cop. 27 years with the Orlando Police Department. Let's see. Served virtually every department. Commander of Special Operations, such as Special Events and Dignitary Protection. So, not SWAT. Yeah, she definitely has the haircut, AP. Orlando's first female police chief. So, married to Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings. Proud mother of 3, grandmother to 5. Honorary doctorate, Bethune-Cookman University, doctorates, yada, yada, yada. So, she's at least done things in life. And especially being a cop, at least she knows how things work in the real world. Let's see. House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Let's see. Subcommittee Intelligence Modernization and Readiness. Subcommittee Defense Intelligence Warfighter Support. Interesting. Judiciary Committee. Subcommittee on Crime, Terrorism, Homeland Security. Vice Chair. Antitrust and Commercial Administrative Law Subcommittee, then House Committee on Homeland Security, Subcommittee on Emergency Preparedness, Response, and Recovery, she's chair, Subcommittee on Transportation and Maritime Security, and then useless caucuses. Let's see which district. Okay, so she's in the Orlando district. Good for her. Good old Apopka. And yeah, that's all we've got on Val Demings. And she's running against little Marco Rubio. God, this website's a damn mess too, isn't it? Alright, let's... So, yep, he's been in the U.S. Senate since 2010, kind of like Blumenthal, ironically. Has one guiding objective: bring the American dream back into those who feel it slipping away. Let's see. Nonpartisan analysis of GovTrack and the Center of Effective Lawmaking ranked Rubio as the Senate's number 2 leader and most effective Republican in 2020. So, yep. Also well known to be the son of Cuban immigrants. Spent most of his life in West Miami. There we go. Committee assignments. Again, beautiful scenery on the website. But holy shit, this is just a mess as far as good actionable information. So Rubio is vice chairman of the Select Committee on Intelligence, Committee on Foreign Relations, Committee for Small Business and Entrepreneurship, Committee on Appropriations, and Special Committee on Aging. Seems to be a lot of senators on the Aging Committee these days, too. All right. From the Paycheck Protection Program to the Child Tax Cut, critical to veterans reform, Everglades restoration, Rubio gets results, a nonpartisan analysis, yada, yada, yada. We've already read that. Nice repetition there. You can get flags from your senator, apparently. Absolute garbage website. All right. You've got Dennis Missigoy. Earl, are you using the Super Karen cut in reference to Rubio or Val Demings? I don't know if it matters in some ways. All right, so Dennis Missigoy, youngest son of two immigrants born and raised in Miami-Dade County, graduating Miami Strings, Computer Science International, yada, yada, yada. Active member in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Let's see. He actually holds an elected office. Seat 1 on the Board of Supervisors at the enclave of the Blackport Point Community Development District. So, a libertarian holding office. That's actually really impressive. Let's see. Same time, majority of us realize, and this is why he's running, point to be cliche, vote Republican, Democrat, that's best, or slightly less evil. We realize that we rarely confront and stop what we think. Earl, that is the only answer for that question. So, another family man, like every good politician. Let's see. So, his issues are the Ukraine war, inflation monetary policy, war on terror. I think that's kind of done now. National debt and spending, immigration, Second Amendment, economic freedom and prosperity, transparency and accountability, the drug war, Constitution, COVID-19, religious freedom. Let's see. Talks about free trade, the Jones Act, all wage control laws. So he's wanting to get, let's see, all wage control laws going back to the Davis-Bacon Act do immense harm to poor, often minority workers, denying them basic tool to compete for entry-level employment opportunities. Increasing government-mandated minimum wage will further exacerbate this problem by pricing more and more entry-level workers out of the job market. Talking about glowies there as well, and wants to, let's see, the Department of Homeland Security and its appendages such as ICE and the TSA should be abolished. Yeah, but The only problem is ICE with the immigrations and customs enforcement. That's not really initially under DHS. So, but hey, so that's Dennis Missingoy. And then we have Dr. Uloma Ekpete or Ekpete. Depends on where she is exactly. So Uma for Florida Senate. Wow, this is really, really, really bad. Let's see. Dr. Ume Ekpete. Sorry. Conservative write-in candidate. Oh, but she actually has a website. So there we go. This is one of the few write-ins we'll get to. Let's see. She's a physician, medical epidemiologist, a doctor of medicine surgery degree, earned a master's in public health from Loma Linda University in California. Let's see. Would be honored to represent Central Florida as a U.S. Senator in D.C., yada, yada, yada. Let's see where, other than having a terrible website, let's see. As a conservative, I'm running for the office of Senate in Florida, promote our goals as Florida communities, to build our Florida cities, and give a voice to residents and committees. She believes in fostering diversity and inclusion. Diversity is our strength. Dr. Uloma wants to ensure we maintain our distinct culture, remain a welcoming place for every racial and socioeconomic background while working together. Let's take a look at her issues. Education. Oh, God. Lorem ipsum dolor sit amet consecutar adisser elit. Yeah. So. Oh, my. This is no wonder this is so bad. This is the build a website. Oh my. So then we have Stephen B. Grant. Let's meet Stephen, eh? Stephen Grant was born in Washington, D.C. and grew up in North Potomac, Maryland. Let's see. Went to the University of Maryland. Full Advantage, Australia at the Royal Melbourne Institute, multiple financing, yada, yada, yada. Investment advisor with Morgan Stanley. Let's see. Stephen B. Grant traveled to the China School of Political Law and Science in Beijing, as well as the University of Netherlands Antilles Certificate of International Comparative Law with his Juris Doctorate. So, 2015, Mr. Grant realized the entrenched political status quo was more interested in maintaining power than leading Boynton Beach to the 21st century. So ran for mayoral election, didn't see anyone more ballot worthy, and so he decided he was going to run for office. City's new law requiring 50% majority. Stephen was a runoff for mayor, being outraised by $50,000. Became the youngest mayor in history. Oh, like poo, all right. This guy seems just like he's running to stroke his own ego. Uh, he, he reminds me a bit of Connor from the Lotus Eaters, to be honest. So then we have Howard Nepper. And, oh, no, he's technically a write-in as well. So, I'm just trying to see if he's got anything really interesting here. No, he's just kind of there. And there are other write-ins. Tuan Ngoyen is running as well, although I think there was I don't think he had a website. No, actually he does. I take that back. Mr. TQ. Let's see. Came to the United States in 1977, established residence in the great state of Florida since 2003. After the aftermath of the Vietnam War, has witnessed the poverty and suffering of the Vietnamese people under Vietnamese communists, has instilled his traits of compassion and a sense of justice. Yes, Earl, the Chinese poo, but that's definitely not TQ. Let's see. Having managed to flee the Vietnamese communist regime, TQ had the opportunity to live and study abroad. 5 continents. So he's an engineer, so he pays too much attention to details sometimes. TQ holds a Master's Science Global Strategic Communications from Florida Institute of Technology. Information Technology from Creighton, and Electrical Engineering from Concordia. He sounds actually kind of like an interesting guy. Platform, immigration reform, education reform, healthcare reform, and foreign policy are his big highlights. So there we go. Let's see. So let's see. Why is he running? For more than a decade, America has become increasingly polarized, divisive, to the extent partisan spirit has dominated and affected all of our daily lives. As Americans, and resulted in gridlock in Washington, hence an ineffective Congress. I mean, an ineffective Congress is the best Congress, in my personal opinion. Let's see. The absence of a voice of independent voters in Florida is sidelined in primary elections. Fair. Increasing assertiveness of authoritarian regimes has posed a threat to America's democracy and a liberal world order, which has guaranteed global stability and development since World War II. So there you go. That is Tuan TQ Ngoyen. And then we also have Moses Quiles. Well, I mean, it's not as bad a website as some of the others I've seen. Let's see. Born at Fort Glick, U.S. Army Base, Panama. Then he moved to Queens. Oof. Let's see. Queens was rough at times. Being a productive environmental led me to eventually being arrested and later homeless at a young age. So, yeah. Not a whole lot there. And let's see. Going through, drilling through. He stands for hope, unity, and truth in the name of Yahshua. He lives. Well, there you go. Moses Quiles. And we're looking at the aggregate of polling data. And currently, Rubio is up 4.7. That's a reasonable spread, but most of the margins for around 4.5. So it's like right there in the margin. And now we go on to the state of Georgia. Reverend Raphael Warnock for Senator, Georgia. I gotta say, anybody that has Senator Reverend as their title, whew. Let's see. Warnock grew up in Caton Homes Public Housing in Savannah. Born one of 12 brothers and sisters. Holy crap. So yeah, he knows what it's like to negotiate. Veteran, small businessman, preacher, grew up in Burke and Screveton counties. Senator Reverend Warnock's mother grew up in Waycross, Georgia, picking tobacco and cotton. I'd be curious to see if she grew up in a community that I had a friend that grew up in Waycross, and Warnock, Morehouse College, graduated, got his PhD, ordained in the ministry, senior pastor, Ebenezer Baptist Church, okay, yada yada yada. Let's see. Warnock was elected January 2021, special election runoff determining the end January 2023. Fill the vacancy caused by the resignation of Senator Johnny Isaacson in a seat previously held by appointed Senator Kelly Loeffler. Currently serves on Agriculture, Nutrition, Forestry Committee, Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee, Commerce, Science, Transportation Committee, as well as the Special Committee on Aging, again, and Joint Economic Committee. Just not a whole lot on Warnock. And then we've got Herschel Walker. That is not his family. Make your own jokes. Let's see. Herschel was born 1962, raised in Wrightsville, Georgia. Small town values, discipline, yada yada yada. Football. That's where everybody pretty much knows him from. University of Georgia. Don't care. Let's see, where's his education? Went to the NFL, yada yada yada. After being diagnosed with DID, dissociative identity disorder, as a result of trauma experienced in childhood, Herschel has dedicated his life to helping others struggling with the mental health problems. So, that's interesting, the DID thing. So let's see. Build America's economy, strengthen national security, make Georgia communities safer, keep the American dream alive. And what other issues? Putting Georgians first, energy independent America, community values, support small businesses. I really don't. Let's see. Secure borders, defend, not defund, support the troops, keep the American dream alive, protect and preserve the Constitution, and no endorsements. Okay. So that's Herschel Walker. And then you have Chase Oliver for the U.S. Senate in Georgia. He's Chase Oliver. Yada, yada, yada. I want to represent you, not the special interests that thrive on division, gridlock, and partisan fighting. Fair. Everybody knows my opinion on gridlock being a good thing. You know, he's got Drag Queen Story Hour endorsements there. This is... Let's see. Here's some of his platform. Immigration reform for the 21st century. Justice reform that empowers people, not government, making it easier to work. End failed war on drugs. Respecting, defending liberties, your right, privacy, and civil right. End war, support peace. Let's see. So that's... Man, that... Quick, simple... I was hoping this is how more of the websites were going to be. And looking at the averages, fairly recent. So we've got Warnock, the incumbent, with 47.8 versus Walker's 43.3. And the gap is widening in the favor of Warnock. But that's probably in light of the October surprise that had happened. And here's the polling data. Kind of an aggregate and long running. So, we shall see. So that takes us through a good majority of where we've been. And yes, I know this is a very long-winded, but kind of needed to make it a bit on the long side. But we're in the home stretch now. So we've got Hawaii. And let's see who's running there. And yeah, I jumped the gun on closing a tab or two, perhaps. So, we have Brian Schatz for Hawaii. And I believe he's the incumbent. Wow, I have to scroll down to get to About Brian. All right. So, let's see. Brian Schatz, senior senator from Hawaii. Since joining the Senate, he's focused on work of helping workers, veterans, and families, key legislation, healthcare, climate change, and technology. Senior Schatz chairs Indian Affairs Committee, Appropriation Committee, Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee, Foreign Relations Committee, Select Committee on Ethics. He also serves on the Senate Democrat caucuses as the Deputy Whip. Schatz grew up in Honolulu, received his bachelor's degree at Sonoma College, and then married his wife, Linda Schatz. Strange that they had the same last name. I have 2 kids. That's nice. And let's take a look at his issues, other than being a Democrat, probably. Yeah. All right. Delivering federal resources to Hawaii, solving the climate crisis, leading efforts to address the climate crisis and build a clean energy future, protecting our healthcare, growing our economy, expanding access to quality education, and supporting the native Hawaiian community, which, that's what he needs to do. Civil rights and criminal justice, veterans, technology, and housing and transportation. So that's Brian Schatz. So, wow. Bob McDermott is running against him, but this website's dead. Well, the hell with that. FINA for U.S. Senate. FINA Bonin. Aloha, I'm FINA Bonin, your neighbor from Makakilo. I represent you in the U.S. Senate. And endorsed is on rabbit holes. I mean, there's jokes to be made there. So, let's see. Opportunity, living led, yada, yada, yada. She's a veteran, vice chair on executive committee for the Libertarian Party of Hawaii, lifetime member of the National Libertarian Party, Hawaii Veteran Cannabis Alliance, class of Corona College, Hawaii Pacific University, running for U.S. Senate. Yada, yada, yada. The struggle is teal. Yes, I said it the way I wanted to. 2000. It's like, thanks for the bio, but I don't really need to know more than how you're going to be a good leader. Let's see. Joined a Marine recruiting station. And then went into the Navy instead. Good for her. Some time in the Navy photos. I like the fact that she's using solutions rather than issues. It's just a semantical thing, but let's see. The economy, drug reform, no victim, no crime. Let's see. We should eliminate the number of people incarcerated. In addition to repealing crimes of gambling and marijuana, we should go through and review and eliminate the criminalization of acts of consenting adults. This would add drug policy reform criminalizing prostitution. Okay. Another libertarian on the Jones Act. Good to see there's some consistency. Gun liberation. Unions. I believe in unions. Unions allow employees to assemble and negotiate with their employers. practical solutions without need of government intervention. Ooh, is she a libertarian if she endorses unions? Taxation and plastics in sustainable Hawaii. So she's been bumping around there for a bit. Let's see. Who else do we have? So we have the Aloha Aina Party with Dan Decker running as its candidate. He served as the National Committee Chairman and Treasurer of the Aloha Aina Party. I'm just going to have to ask. See, Earl, thanks for dropping by. Yeah, it's been a bit of a slog, but, well, what do you expect when you've got this many damn Senate candidates running? And somebody who has to do this and try to be too inclusive with all of it. Emma Pullman, Green Party, U.S. Senate. Doesn't even know what she looks like, so apparently she's there. And now we get into one of the boring state seal type states. Idaho. State seal flags. I just think they're hideously boring. But anyway. So we have David Roth for the United States Senate. So that's David Roth. Okay. Let's see. Roth grew up in Idaho Falls, father of 2 sons, adopted in 2017, foster parent. Lives in a home where he spent much of his childhood, director of Bonneville Youth Department. Okay. Active in politics since 2006, served as precinct captain, ran for Idaho State Legislature, decided to run for Senate after discussing his concerns. Let's see. He strongly believes the notion of a safe seat is the enemy of democracy. I mean, that's a fair point. Every politician should feel that every vote and debate job interview for the next election. Business marketing. It's executive director. Habitat for Humanity. Okay. So, let's see. He is what defines me? What can I say I am? Christian, father, Democrat, gay man, community leader, son, brother, and candidate for U.S. Senate. Okay. I'm not seeing anything about endorsements or, let's see, policy positions, women's rights, health care, alphabet issues, immigration, and opioids. Also, gun reform. It sounds a lot like this guy's just running as a filler just for the sake of running, which, in that regard, I can respect. Mike Crapo, senator for Idaho. So he's the incumbent. And I do enjoy the name. Born Bonneville County, 4th generation Idahoan, so basically since the state was founded. Let's see, continues to serve chief deputy whip among Senate Republicans. Take note, so he's part of the establishment. Education and experience. Holden Law Firm. From Idaho and California Bar Associations. Juris Doctorate cum laude from Harvard Law School, 1977. Brigham Young, 73. Political science. In addition to supporting free market economies, fuel economic growth, successful tax reform, 2017. Access to quality, affordable health care, U.S. global competitiveness goals through free trade and free markets. Eliminating unnecessary federal regulations against federal overreach, and advocating locally driven. So, okay. Let's see what. He's on the Senate Finance Committee, the Banking Committee, the Joint Committee on Taxation, the Budget Committee, Committee on Indian Affairs, Judiciary Committee, Agriculture Committee, Environment Committee, there's another one, and miscellaneous caucuses that nobody really gives a crap about, or a crapo about. His primary issues: agriculture, banking and financial services, budget and fiscal responsibility, collaboration. I hope he doesn't mean in a quizzling manner. The Constitution, courts and judiciary, cultural diversity, defense, global war on terrorism, domestic violence, economy and jobs, education, energy, environment services, foreign affairs, healthcare. Good Lord. He does it all. Immigration, homeland security, Native Americans, Second Amendment, Social Security, taxes, transportation, and veterans. Let's see. Let's take a look at the press kit. Nope. I was hoping that we'd get a little blurb about who's endorsed him, but since he's the incumbent, it's probably all the usual caricatures. And yes, I said it specifically that way. Let's see. And then we have Scott Cleveland running for Senate as a libertarian. Well, he's using libertarian colors, but I don't know if he is. Let's see. So, Scott O. Cleveland. Okay. Born and raised in New Mexico. Let's see. Husband for 33 years. Owns his own transportation business. During owning his own business, Fortune 100 firm, New York Life, New York Securities. Raised through the corporate ranks. Okay. He established boutique investment and brokerage firm in Eagle, Idaho. His clients appreciate his financial acumen. So he's a local guy trying to get on the way. Let's see. Scott was been a lifelong Republican until 2020, and he decided to run as independent conservative candidate. Scott remains conservative and strongly believes in the America First movement. The old guard, Rhino-led Republican Party no longer aligns with the American First principles. Showing all two reactions. All right, let's take a look at the... So his issues are Crapo's reckless spending, COVID-19, election integrity, border security and immigration policy. And those are his big reasons for running. Let's see if he has actual endorsements. So, oh, this is strange. Conservatives of PAC. Never heard of that. So, COPAC rather than CPAC. Protect 43. And his pastor and the mayor of his small town. Then we have Constitution Party candidate Ray Wirtz, running in the election U.S. Senate, yada, 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 for Idaho. He was born in Chicago, Illinois. Studied degree in electronics for the DeVry Institute, owning business, working as an accountant. So there we go. And then we have, and we're coming down to the final stretch. We have Illinois, also known as the Sucker State. And people always laugh when I call it the Sucker State, but here we have proof. So, your host has made a slight error because, well, it's Illinois. And it's always funny to make fun of Illinois. All right, so we have Tammy Duckworth, the current incumbent. So she's a Iraq war vet, Purple Heart, not harp, heart recipient, former secretary of the Department of Veterans Affairs. The first handful of women to fly combat missions during Iraqi freedom. Duckworth served in reserve, retiring with the rank of lieutenant colonel. Elected the Senate in 2016. Let's see, she was a Black Hawk pilot for the Illinois National Guard. Hit by an RPG, lost her legs. Partial use of her right arm. Obama, in 2009, appointed Duckworth as Assistant Secretary of Veteran Affairs. So, because she's from Illinois, they've got the Chicago way going on. Friendly airports from others. Oh, this explains why there's so many lactation stations in the Chicago O'Hare Airport. So, here's the actual important stuff on her background. Duckworth is fluent in Thai and Indonesian, attended University of Hawaii, International Affairs, master's degree, George Washington University. Let's see, PhD in political science at Northern Illinois University, worked with Rotary International. Let's see, Duckworth and her husband Brian are proud parents of 2 daughters. Good for them. Her issues: agriculture and nutrition, criminal justice reform, gun safety. It's all lumped into one. Economy, jobs, and small business, education and worker training, environment, energy, and the Great Lakes. Makes sense. Government oversight and accountability, healthcare, immigration, national security, foreign relations, seniors, infrastructure, and veterans. And let's see what committees she's on. She is Senate Democrats' Special Committee on Climate Crisis, Environmental Justice Caucus, Senate Armed Service Committee, Senate Environment and Public Works, Commerce, Science and Transportation Committee, and Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship. Click for more information on student debt relief for Working suckers. All right, so we have Kathy Salvi, raised in Waukegan. Let's see. Went to Loyola University, obtaining a BA in communications. However, through the example of her parents and her religion, being a family arbiter as the firstborn of 9 children. Wow. Passed the bar. Let's see. Kathy is running for the U.S. Senate because Illinois lacks the leadership they deserve, both in Springfield and in Washington. We are crippled by one-party rule that has done serious damage to Illinois families and businesses. Partisan politics and radical agendas prevail over the best interests of the people of Illinois. Mistrust in government continues to grow due to repressive policies that interfere with freedoms and our way of life. So she makes no bones about the fact that she doesn't like the way things are going. She and her husband have 6 children, 3 grandchildren, and live in Illinois still. Well, that's good because you have to live in the state you represent. Let's see. Kathy participated in planning sessions for the United Nations Conference on Women in New York City and Beijing, China. Well, okay then. And let's see. Let's take a look at her issues. She wants to be energy independent, bring real economic relief to families and businesses, secure the border, protect our communities. A rare non-on-fire Chicago police vehicle, give parents a voice in education, provide leadership on the world stage. Peace through strength requires strong, decisive leadership. Biden's chaotic, disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan not only marked a low point in America's leadership abroad, it also renewed aggression from evil dictators around the world. The world is an unstable place today because of it. And let's see. Kathy Salvi has been endorsed by Illinois Fraternal Order of Police, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Moms for America Action, Republican gubernatorial Jesse Sullivan, Aurora Mayor Richard Irvin, United Hellenic Voters of America, Chicago Tribune, Daily Herald, Republican Organization of Elk Grove, Republicans of Wheeling, Winfield Township, Schaumburg, Snagamonn, Lake County, Barrington, Evanston, Trier, Illinois Family Action, Niles Township, Northfield Township, Homer Township, Illinois Federation for Right to Life, McHenry County GoPac, Bremen Township, McHenry Pro-Life Victory PAC, Illinois Cities PAC, and Arab Daily News. So there you go. That is Kathy Salvi. So we have Lowell Martin Saida. He's running for the U.S. Senate. Let's see. Illinoises? Yes. Good God. I'm not reading a lot of this crap. He's claiming that he had his underpants stolen. Yeah, all right. This guy seems like he just not wasting my time. Not wasting your time either. All right, so we have Bill Redpath for the Senate. He's been a member of the Libertarian Party since 1984. Yeah. Served 2 terms in the Libertarian National Committee between 2006 and 2010. Let's see. Bill is one of 14 inductees to the Libertarian Party Hall of Fame, or no, Hall of Liberty. Sorry. So, his platform combines conservative stances on economic issues and generally liberal positions on social issues. My core philosophy is people should be able to live their own lives as they choose, without interference, as long as they do no harm to other people or their property. To that end, my campaign calls for reduced government spending, lower taxes, and real respect for civil liberties. So there you go. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, this is... So, let's see. He ran for a Libertarian candidate before Virginia House of Delegates in 93, Virginia Senate election, 98, governor in 2001, U.S. Senate in 2008, U.S. House 10th District of Virginia in 2010-2014, and U.S. 6th District of Illinois in 2020. Interesting. He's a chartered financial analyst. And then we move on to the better state to the east of the sucker state, Indiana. Oh, that shouldn't be there. So we have Tom McDermott for U.S. Senate. The change we need in Washington, we need Tom McDermott. Let's see. What about Tom? Let's see. He served 6 years in the U.S. Navy aboard a nuclear sub during the Persian Gulf War. He served as a nuclear electrician on the sub's reactor plant, and was in the Navy dive school. Attended Purdue Northwest. So he went to the University of Notre Dame, worked as legal aid, receiving law degree, and opened a practice in Hammond College-bound scholarship program. Provided full tuition, thousands of graduating seniors. Cool. Let's see. Mayor Tom McDermott was named a Sagamore of the Wabash. Highest honor bestowed upon a civilian by the governor of Indiana. Also in 2005, he was deputy chairman of the Indiana Democrat Party, putting him at the center of state issues. He and his wife have 4 kids. Cool. Let's look at his issues. All stand up for Hoosiers, not special interests. Why do I doubt that? So his primary focuses are reproductive rights, health care, veterans, small business, gun safety and violence. Like many Hoosiers, I'm a gun owner. Served in the U.S. Navy. In the military, I was taught to use my weapon responsibly and protect lives of my fellow servicemen. However, we don't need military-style assault rifles like AR-15s in our communities. I believe they're dangerous to society and made for war, not hunting or protecting your family. Education, voting rights, environment and climate, rural development. Rural Indiana is a special place for all Hoosier families. We need to protect and preserve our small towns and rural farmlands. Cannabis. Dude, it's 2022. Like current year, man. Across America, millions of Americans use marijuana to help in the treatment of epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, seizures, Crohn's disease, Alzheimer's, and cancer. That's why 37 states and the District of Columbia and several U.S. territories have legalized it for medical use, including 3 states that border Indiana: Ohio, Michigan, and the Sucker State. Furthermore, it's become very clear we're on the way to full legalization in most of the country. 13 states are already making marijuana a legal substance, and others have decriminalized it. It's time for federal government to recognize that the marijuana should be illegal. As a U.S. Senator, I'll fight to ensure it. So, yeah, he's going for the stoner vote. Let's see. We can get yard signs. So that is Scott McDermott for Indiana Senate. Now we have incumbent Todd Young. I see he's going with the state color scheme fairly aggressively. And the Indianapolis 500. Well, the test track at Indianapolis. So he is from Hamilton County, Indiana, so native. He was in the U.S. Naval Academy, then the University of Chicago, and the Indiana University. And he's got 4 kids as well, so if you're judging who you're voting for by the number of children, you're up the creek without a paddle. Let's see, grew up watching his parents work hard to support the family. Instilled Midwestern values and accents, probably. After graduating with Todd enlisted in the Navy, wanted to go to the Naval Academy in Annapolis, received an appointment there, graduated with honors, accepted a commission in the U.S. Marine Corps. After training as a rifle platoon commander and a service intelligence officer, Todd was then assigned to a recruiting effort in Chicago and Northwest Indiana. Oh, Gary, Indiana. They're kind of really Illinois. During this time, he put himself through night school, University of Chicago. He earned his MBA with economics focus. After serving a decade, 2000, he was discharged as a captain. Spent a year in England, economic history, yada, yada, yada. Management consultant, private organizations. So, okay. Let's see. Help for Hoosiers. Priorities. Wow, that was a little bit of a hunt. Affordable housing, serving veterans, encouraging adoption and loving homes. Oh, that's a new one. I don't think we've really, we saw it with one other Senate candidate. Modernizing education, curbing opioid crisis, helping our farmers, strengthening infrastructure, jobs and wages, community safe and healthy, protecting young Hoosiers, and foreign policy. Any endorsements? No. No endorsements. And then we have James Shinayak. He's also running for the Senate in Indiana. And I believe he's libertarian, but that's only going off the little little symbol there, but that's also kind of the Indiana torch too. So about James, conservative family in northern Indiana, went to Ivy Tech Community College, then Bethel University, Bachelor in Human Services, education, social service related profession, yada, yada, yada. James serves children with autism behavior therapist. Oh, that's kind of cool. Uses his education to help his clients acclimate to their daily environments by building social skills and teaching them how to manage their behavior. Lifelong Hoosier, James ready to take family values to D.C. for freedom, liberty, and believes his community and people. Again, I like seeing priorities rather than issues, but that's just me. Medical freedom, veteran care, fiscal sanity. Oh, he's talking about Calvin Coolidge here. That's impressive. Criminal justice reform, gun rights. He will not support any further gun restrictions. And abortion. Politicians are not physicians, should stop trying to be. Whether it's a vaccine mandate or woman's right to choose, those decisions are in the hand of the individual's personal physician, according to religious counsel. Personally pro-life, but he believes government has no role in prevention. Bans only create black markets, and no piece of legislation can ever cover every eventuality. And no endorsements. All right. Well, we're at the end of this slog of states. It'll get easier from here, I promise. Plus, I think I can streamline some of it a little bit in future. And I just wanted to touch on some of the other, what's been raised financially, things like that. So we have, it's race to the WH.com, and they kind of going through and looking at donations by state, and we'll just give this a quick look through, and I'll just say who has the most. With we'll look at total raised. So Mark Kelly in Arizona has the largest. In Colorado, Mike Bennett has a significantly large amount. Florida, Val Demings has the largest amount of money raised. Georgia, Warnock has the largest amount. We're not doing Nevada yet, nor New Hampshire. Nope. Alabama, Katie Britt has significantly outraised her competition. While in Alaska, Murkowski has raised the largest amount, but Tishbaka is definitely outperforming her. Arkansas, Boozman is really one-sidedly winning this. Natalie James, we saw her website. Are you really shocked? California, Padilla is by and far leading. Connecticut, Blumenthal. Hawaii, Schatz, again, another incumbent. Idaho, Mike Crapo is dominating. The Chicago Way with Tammy Duckworth in the lead. And Todd Young is leading in Indiana. And that's for next week. So, this website, and I do believe it's quite biased, is talking about, okay, this is where we think things are going. It's a useful infographic website, but I just don't know how much of it I believe. Now they're thinking Democrats have a 63% chance of winning a majority, where Republicans only have 36. That's for everyone to decide if they're able to vote. And this is uselectionatlas.org, kind of giving you a hint of where some states are leaning. And it's saying a toss-up in Indiana, but it's 39-37. Illinois, it's 43-34. Yeah, so it's I would say it's really difficult to determine right now in any good faith. But yeah. Yes, AP, I did say Schatz and Crapo. Only one P with Crapo. So this has been our primer on the U.S. Senate election, covering the first 13 states or so. And yeah, that was quite a bit more of a slog than I was initially expecting to go through, but I wanted to be as thorough as possible, as far as just kind of like if there was information on the sites that were available. So if you go through and you look at this, you kind of get a good picture of who's running, not just, oh hey, it's my candidate from X party. Tried to be as impartial as humanly possible. Hopefully I was able to do that for the most part. And I do have to say, some of these candidates need to fix their damn websites. They're just messes. There were some really good ones, some really bad ones, but overall, I think websites are important. But I also will say, I think given how partisan the elections are, I really don't know how much people are really going to be looking at impartial information, unfortunately. But that said, I wanted to do a thorough an overview as possible, and so this is part 1 of 3, and this has been nearly about 3 hours long, so I do apologize for the length in a way, but yeah, I think it's important, especially because I'm wanting to do a live stream on the night of the election, and hopefully I can dragoon a few individuals to drop in, and we can discuss some of it, have a few hijinks. But at this stage, I really just wanted to get a good, solid foundation out there available. So let's see. So winding down and wrapping up here. Yes, AP. Their websites are actually worse than your thumbnails in some cases. At least your thumbnails look like something instead of, hey, here's our candidate's giant hand floating in the nethers. So I think the giant hand is a great thing to conclude this podcast on. Excellent, AP. So I think this is a good point of wrapping up. I'd like to thank everybody for dropping in, and more importantly, hopefully some newbies will come floating in and take a look at it, and I'll try to get some timestamps on what states are where. Other than that, have a great evening, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Same time, same station. Bleach out.
Go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Yeah, there you go.